The first thing you need to know is that my sister died when I was 15 and she was 19. Story goes that Lisa was driving too fast through the bendy part of Lakeshore Drive. You know the one, smack dab between Grand and LaSalle. She took that S curve doing 70 like she was running from something in her rearview mirror.
Campos leans in close, squints. In the shadows, he can see the reflection of his eyes looking back at him. There's a faint hum of electricity coming off the screen, the scene. He's been feeling it in the back of his head for the last few months. He has tinnitus from a botched job down in Calumet City. This is like that, only much lower in pitch.
I'll start because one of the things that I really like in stories is structure. And you did something very interesting with the structure of your story, which was telling it through the lens of someone watching footage, body cam footage. And I was just curious how you came about structuring your story like that. Like, what made you think that that would tell the story the best way?
Um, you know, it's funny, because like structure isn't always necessarily like the first thing you start with. Sometimes actually I feel like structure might be one of the last things I find when I go through things. It usually starts with the concept for me. And in this case it was a setting. And so between the setting and the concept, I I do really love non-traditional ways of storytelling, and kind of the found footage approach is an interesting way for that to kind of be told. And so, just like cutting it into like little snippets of footage and then getting inside of Campos's head was just it kind of came, I guess, naturally to that. There's something like I find traditional storytelling to sometimes be more challenging because I don't know that I've ever actually learned how to do it. Like I,
Sure.
I do my best, but I feel like the non-traditional stuff allows me to just um, kind of fly blind in a good way, if that
Yeah,
makes.
there's a freedom in it. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
very cool. The other thing you mentioned just now too is the setting too. Were you like specifically wanting to focus in lower Wacker? Was that like where
Yeah,
the core of it came from?
yeah. I mean, I think I know, for instance, that mine is not the only story that, takes place in the lower Whacker zone. In fact, I think there's a story called Lowest Whacker. The tunnels that, you know, like I don't know how much I know that there are tunnels and I know that the whole city of Chicago is raised
Mm-hmm.
and probably slowly sinking. And I'm just kind of fascinated with the strata of the city and kind of, I mean, lower Wacker is it's a scary place, like
Yep.
without anything supernatural going on.
True.
And so, yeah, from that standpoint, I I knew that I wanted to like set something down there. I knew that I wanted to um, kind of dig into police brutality, and because it's obviously in lower Wacker probably like the worst place to um have a run-in with the wrong type of authority.
Mm-hmm.
So that like that just felt like the perfect kind of setting for a story like this.
Awesome.
Setting wise,
Mhm.
like jumping to your story, there was like like the Chicago just like really like was infused in it, and lots of like I love the little like touches of it, and just even like Grand and LaSalle right in the very beginning, and then Logan Square is referenced, and you talk about Columbia College, and um, were these places that you had spent a fair amount of time in when you lived in Chicago?
Yeah, definitely. I think like you were saying that you start with the concept and grow out from there. Mine was I wanted very much to root mine in nostalgia.
Yeah,
So
comes
a
through.
lot of it was built from places that I've been or lived, or that were like a part of my life. Like my best friend and I, when we were teenagers and just got our licenses, and we still lived in the suburbs. When we had nothing else to do, we would just drive all the way to Chicago and then loop Lakeshore and come back. So
Yeah.
like that, I needed it to start somewhere that felt very Chicago to me. And so that's where the setting came from. And when I lived in the city, I lived in Logan Square, and then I went to Columbia College. So it was all places that I am rooted in, and felt natural for that nostalgia vibe I was going for.
Well, that came through loud and clear, like just that, kind of that sense of loss, both of a sister, but also of a past,
Mm-hmm.
that came through loud and clear, and I really, really liked that. One thing I wanted to ask you
Mm-hmm.
is because I mean, some of my favorite horror is always in the peripheral vision or
Sure.
just dancing out of the peripheral vision.
Yeah.
And you, I think, nailed that.
Oh, thank you.
But you gave some like the clown thing. I was like, was it actually a clown? Like, like that was chasing her? Was this just mental illness? Like the fact that she disappeared. So my question always with when you are playing in this peripheral
Mhm.
zone, as a writer, you can figure it out and know it, or you don't necessarily have to. Did you have it all figured out?
Um, yes and no. It's funny you brought up the clown thing because I grew up with a fear of clowns. So I feel like they tend to come into my
Into your
work
work?
regardless of their import.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was definitely more of just a more a cerebral experience that was chasing this family through, the generations, and specifically, her
Okay.
experience with it. So
Okay, got it. But her body, they never found her body.
exactly.